Northwest Ohio Classical Academy 2026 Commencement Address. First, I would like to say thank you to the board and the administration for inviting me to speak to the class of 2026. I am humbled to be here. It is an honor to be among colleagues and friends that I have known since the school started in 2019. I would also like to acknowledge all the parents of the class of 2026. Some of you are founding families, and some of you enrolled your children in the years following. Your courage to place your children in a new school with a brave mission is commendable and has laid the track for parents who will come after you for generations to come. I am pleased to address your graduates on this special evening. And to the class of 2026, I'm here to celebrate you. Are you ready? Make no mistake, this is a celebration, and what I have to say to you in the next hour and a half, I hope you'll take with you long into your future. Just kidding, I will not be speaking for an hour and a half. This evening signifies the end of something on one hand, the end of your formal education. If we think of our lives as a multi-volume set of books, this might be considered the end of volume 1. Or maybe you think in terms of plays or music. Okay. Perhaps this is the end of the first act of your 5-act play. Maybe in the afterglow of this momentous evening, it's the pause between movements of your magnus opus. And perhaps we may title the end of this volume, act, or movement. How about this? As to the time I was conscripted to the bonds of an educational institution. No? I don't like that one either. How about the heart and mind of a scholar? The adventure begins. Because, on the other hand, this evening signifies the beginning of something new in the multi-volume story of your life. Tomorrow begins Volume 2, Act 2, or the second movement of your magnus opus. What that beginning is, I do not know, and how the rest of your life will unfold, I cannot tell. But from what I know about the life after high school graduation, it is for sure to be a great adventure and will follow the theme of your formative years, and the melodies and the themes of your education will be the current under your feet as you move into the future that is to be your adventure. After all, every great epic has to have a bit of adventure, loss and joy and pain and relief and love. Whichever analogy we choose, we cannot escape the paradox of this event. You are both finished, at the end, in the state of completion, and in the next breath, new, green, wet behind the ears, and haven't accomplished yet. You are at the apex of your life, looking out to the landscape before you. Graduates, what do you see? The Chugach Mountains in the great state of Alaska humble every hiker, and I have a goal. I want to hike the face of Mount Alyeska. I have gotten to the first summit by tram and hiked up beyond it, up where there is feet of snow in July. And do you know what I found there? An expanse of even more seemingly endless series of peaks, some far beyond my reach, regardless of how fit I am to hike, and yet visible to the eye for the imagination and wonderment. So, we take this time to commemorate this end, to celebrate, and while you may have made it to this summit, there are peaks beyond. Are you ready? What kind of person have you become? What body of knowledge do you now have to draw from so that tomorrow, as you look into the expanse and see the peaks beyond you, you are ready to climb? Are you nervous? It's not the time to have an existential crisis like tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day. No. Macbeth's overarching ambition cost him more than he could pay. It cost him the good life. Let's linger here on this moment in this room with the memories and the wonder of the formation of your hearts and your minds over the course of your tenure at Northwest Ohio Classical Academy. Let's take time to reflect. In another play, Shakespeare wrote that all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 stages. At first the infant mewling and puking in his mother's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face creeping like snail unwillingly to school. Shakespeare goes on to talk about the lover, the soldier, the justice, the aged, and the stage that brings about second childishness, the one closest to death. While you do not remember your baby stages, your mom and dad do. Grandmas and grandpas, aunts and uncles do. I assure you that your mother remembers your first day of school and is right now reflecting on it. The ache in her heart is like that litmus lozenge in De Camillo's Because of Winn-Dixie. Happiness and sadness are impossible to separate at times. You can reflect on the schoolboy days. Of course you can. You all are the schoolboys. Remember creeping to school? How many days did you not want to come? Then remember not being allowed to come? Do you remember how jubilant it felt to come together again? Remember your favorite teacher? Remember your favorite math problem, the one you conquered? What about the favorite game in the sport you trained at? Was there a win or loss you remember the most? But Mrs. Spaulding, I'm not a schoolboy anymore, you may be thinking. I know this speech. I had to memorize it and recite it, and oh, yes, you all think you're the lovers, because lover comes after the schoolboy stage, according to Shakespeare, sighing like furnace. And for certain, in your formative years you have loved, but surely there is room in your life for your loves to mature, to deepen, to be more than the infatuation of Poe's Annabel Lee, and less impetuous than the star-crossed lovers Romeo and Juliet. Love that is honed over the course of time is sacrificial, puts others first, sees the dignity in others. Love like this is cultivated. It's cared for, and it yields a harvest in time and the good life. Hasn't this been the work of your time here, learning to love the right things rightly, ordering your affections? You have had a unique education in that the ends of this education are virtue, moral, intellectual, and civic. These form a kind of person who knows a body of knowledge to the best of their ability. Class of 2026, each of you may take on that which is before you, workforce, college, military, entrepreneurship, whatever the good Lord calls you to. You see, regardless of what you do for a living, that gift of yours that you make into a career, the eternal formation of the kind of person you are and the wisdom you pursue supersedes the utility. Virtue fulfills the utility. Virtue makes your life good. At the end of the day, the virtues of NOCA are not a fancy way of catching you being good to stoke your ego, and it's not a malignant way of oppressing your self-expression. The virtues connect you to the eternal, to reality. Have you learned to love courage? Can you look at a challenge in the eye and in spite of your pounding heart and shaky legs, do the thing? Can you do such a dangerous thing as to represent an innocent black man in court, knowing you may lose, as Atticus Finch did in To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee? Who does Atticus love so much that he may have this kind of courage? His children? His community? Innocence? Justice? Do you love others and treat them as they are as valuable as you are? Do you know the self-evident truth that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with unalienable rights, which means that we can give each other their due without worrying if our due is coming? That we can be just? I remember writing this on the board when some of you, the ones that I taught, were in 8th grade. It was a challenging year when you were 8th graders, and you all were struggling with value. And I wrote this on my whiteboard. I wonder if you remember it. I wrote, "You are not a value proposition. Your value does not change. Your attitude can change. Your opinion can change. Your value remains constant." Now, this does not eliminate consequences, of course. In fact, a just consequence proves love. It proves value. Unfair consequences is no justice at all. Justice requires us to see the full humanity of others, not just ourselves. Do you love justice? To deliberate before you act, have good judgment, and to have the thirst for knowledge and about the most important things is to be prudent and wise. You have a long way to go here, so lean into it, attend to it. Prudence is circumspective, but not cowardly. It counts the cost, but does not delay in action or hoard good things. Wisdom comes, give it time. Talk with your parents, your grandparents, aunts, uncles. What do they know? How do they live? Talk to your teachers and older people at your church, work, and in your community. What do they know? What stories do they have to tell? How do they live? Look around this room. These are the people who got you here. They have the wisdom you hope to have when you are their age and your children are sitting in your seats. Be encouraged. I have learned prudence and wisdom mostly through mistakes and failures. I have learned through having to apologize, from having to humble my posture and submit my will to the truth. Our souls are connected to prudence and wisdom. Lean into this. You know, Class of 2026, you were born to grow up. We are not made to remain babies. Boys grow to be men, and girls grow to be women by design. You aren't made to be infantile. In the same breath, though, you're not there yet. Seek prudence and wisdom even after this day is over. Choices have consequences, but you need not fear failure. Wrong answers are wrong, but you need not fear trying. Advice is just that, advice. You are at the point where you have to take it or leave it. Extremes in our culture today are the norm. You are not ignorant of this, and as I'm sure all of you have some sort of social platform or gaming platform that you're on regularly. And these platforms do not deal in moderation. In fact, they are designed to keep you entranced for as long as you want. Does your heart know what to love in the proper proportions? Excess requires selfishness, looking in and down, doom scrolling, comparison scrolling, trolling, pretend killing. We are prisoners of the modern version of Millie Montag's TV walls right in the palm of our hands. Remember her from Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451? In one poignant scene, Montag asks her, "Millie, does the white clown love you?" Class of 2026, audience, does your phone love you? Does ChatGPT love you? Self-government is the means to freedom. When you freely do as you ought, you have learned moderation. This, graduates, will become an anchor to the good life because it means that extremes are not attractive and do not rob you of finishing your adventure well. Rudyard Kipling's If, remember it? That was a 6th grade poem. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or be lied about, don't deal in lies, or be hated, don't give way to hating. And yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. This is moderation. This is loving the right things in the proper proportion. You know, I'm proud of you. Even those of you who I do not know, I am proud of you. I know what it has taken to get to this point. I know the books you have read, the math curriculum you have mastered, the history courses in Latin, and the senior thesis. Here you are. You have learned to love responsibility here at NOCA, and to be fair, more opportunities to be responsible are on the way. Whatever it is God is calling you to, you are responsible to be on time, do what is asked of you, develop your skills, learn to be a good leader, or be the best follower. That is a whole other kind of responsibility. In the next act, as your adventure unfolds, responsibility will be developed through college and career, and by starting a family of your own. There is something wonderful about finding and marrying the one whom your soul loves, the one you live life together and raise the next generation with. And that requires love. It requires the love of responsibility. So this is what it is to teach for virtue, moral, intellectual, and civic. But Mrs. Spaulding, I've been checking them off one at a time, and it's been a long enough time. You forgot one. Oh, did I? Or did I save the hardest virtue for last? The best virtue for last, the virtue that if taken flippantly is superficial at best, and if taken too seriously is clandestine, isolated, and ironically the opposite of what it's meant to be. You see, stories of friendship are woven throughout the literature courses you have taken at NOCA. Arguably, friendship is the hardest virtue to cultivate. Friendship requires all the virtues to be good at it, and it actually doesn't require that you like the person, although often liking is a happy manifestation of friendship. Oh, sure, there are closer friendships than others, but the virtue of friendship is no respecter of persons. Friendship requires a mature love. It requires the heart of goodwill. That is why it's so hard when a friendship goes bad or is betrayed, because justice is at play in the aftermath. Prudence weighs boundaries, moderation upholds the boundaries, and so on. Think about The Call of the Wild. We like to think of this book as maybe a model of leadership, and surely Buck became a leader. But this is a story of friendship. Why? Because Buck learned to love. He learned to love after he was the king of his Clara Valley, Southern California manse that he inherited. And through no error on his own part, he was taken to the Northland, sold into the traces of a dog sled team. Here his education began. Buck learns the law of club and fang, and he leads the team well, but his circumstances change. Eventually, he is saved by John Thornton. This is where he learns friendship, where he learns love. He's called to the wild. He's called to his own kind of freedom, and he's attracted to it. But for the love of man, he remains. When he could run away, he does not. This kind of friendship encompasses responsibility, prudence, justice, wisdom, courage, and moderation. Okay, Mrs. Spaulding, you get so dramatic. Maybe. But the stories you have studied over the years here at NOCA are the guideposts to your next act, to your next volume. Think about Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, where in the end Sidney Carton sacrifices himself for Charles Darnay. This just act, this sacrificial act, saved the life of Lucy Manette and her family. Remember what Carton whispered to Lucy? He said, "Live the life you love." But overall, wouldn't you contend that Darnay was the better man? Carton was not so hot. He was a bad man, but in the end, he encompassed friendship. He finally got it. He exhibited that which is sacrificial. Greater love hath no man than he lay down his life for a friend. Friendship, true and genuine care for others and living out a sense of goodwill will change the culture of today. And I am not talking about a blind sense of sunshine and roses gaslighting you to believe that life is easy or that you'll not face hardship in your life, but the self-serving, idolatrous, utilitarian, materialistic culture of today, hell-bent on dividing you in the name of differences, is killing friendship. In your time here at NOCA, I hope you have developed the kinds of friendships that will take you into tomorrow and that you will befriend others along the way. Well, graduates, here we are, at the end of the walk through the ends of this kind of education, virtue. And I ask again, as I did at the beginning, what kind of person have you become? Congratulations to you on this most auspicious day. You are welcome at my table in Anchorage, Alaska, anytime. Do keep in touch. Enjoy the merrymaking and celebrations that are to come after this night, and hold tightly to the truth, goodness, and beauty you have found here at Northwest Ohio Classical Academy, and continue to pursue it with joy in the years to come. Thank you.